One of the reasons professional sports are so attractive to the masses is the potential to witness superhuman feats of endurance or skill, the likes of which are impossible to most. And over the course of history, there have been some truly remarkable achievements which probably won't ever be broken. Stick around, because today we are discussing some all-time sporting records that are unlikely to ever be beaten. First up, it's Michael Phelps. In a period of swimming when it seemed as though an athlete was being popped every other week for performance-enhancing drugs, Phelps was breaking record after record, and pretty easily too. Known for being spotlessly clean, unlike another former American hero, Lance Armstrong, Phelps took the swimming world by storm. After bursting onto the scene as a fresh-faced 19-year-old at the Athens Olympics in 2004, where he came, saw, and conquered with 6 gold medals, Phelps kept up his dominance over the next 3 Olympic Games. All told, he would finish his career with an incredible 23 Olympic gold medals, as well as 3 silver and 2 bronze. His medal haul is more than double the amount of second-placed Mark Spitz and is unlikely to ever be beaten. However, he may be looking nervously over his shoulder with the emergence of 18-year-old swimming prodigy David Popovici, who looks set to dominate the sport for at least the next decade. While Popovici certainly has potential, Phelps has the medals in the bag already, and we're going out on a limb and suggest that Phelps' record of 28 Olympic medals will stand for a very long time. Give us your thoughts on the flying fish below. Next up, we have Jerry Rice. Stay tuned. Mississippi-born Rice turned out for teams such as the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders during his stellar career, which also saw him win 3 Super Bowl rings. Over the course of his time in the NFL, Rice became the all-time leading receiver with an incredible 22,895 yards. To put that astonishing number into perspective, it's more than 5,000 yards more than second-placed Larry Fitzgerald, who called it a day in 2020. The closest active wide receiver currently playing in the NFL is Julio Jones, with less than 13,500, and at 33 years old, it's highly unlikely he's going to concern Rice at this point. Rice's unbelievable receiving yards tally was garnered over more than 2 decades in the sport, which itself is quite an incredible achievement. He scored more than 1,000 yards in 14 of those seasons, and saw 1,500-yard seasons on 3 separate occasions. One of Rice's best attributes was his availability. The man was seemingly never injured and only played less than 16 games in 2 of those 20-plus seasons. Of course, he had 2 world-class QBs to help him along the way in the form of Joe Montana and Steve Young, but the man himself was a machine and pretty much uncoverable throughout his epic career. You can safely expect this record to never be beaten. Who is the best receiver around right now, in your opinion? We're talking about Wayne Gretzky next. Stick around. The Great One has been retired for more than 2 decades now, but he is still considered to be the greatest player of all time. His incredible record of 1,963 career assists is so far ahead of anyone else, it is likely to never be beaten. Gretzky garnered his reputation as one of the most creative and deadly players the league has ever seen during his career with teams such as the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings, among others. He also holds another NHL record which is unlikely to ever be beaten. Unsurprisingly, he is the all-time record point scorer too, with 2,857, more than 8,000 more than second-placed Jaromir Jagr, who is a long time removed from his NHL days. As the saying goes, it is likely Gretzky's points record would stand on assists alone. Incredible, right? In terms of assists, Gretzky is more than 1,000 clear of active leader Sidney Crosby, who is now 35 and unlikely to seriously threaten the Brantford, Ontario man's record. Who is your favorite player in the NHL right now? Give us your thoughts below. A quite ludicrous Wilt Chamberlain record now. Stay with us. The NBA heads among us will know all about Wilt Chamberlain, but for the uncultured, Chamberlain is the only man in history to score 100 points in a game. The incredible feat came back in 1962 as his Warriors dismantled the Knicks 169-147. The long-standing record has never really come close to being broken. Kobe had a decent try when he scored 81 points on the Raptors back in 2006, but he never really seriously threatened Chamberlain's record. Wilt Chamberlain was so good that he scored 50 points or more in one game on no fewer than 45 separate occasions during his incredible 1961-62 campaign. Add to this the fact fact that he scored north of 60 points in 15 games and more than 70 points on 3 occasions during that magnificent season, as well as his 100-point effort, then you will realize the talent we're dealing with. Unless the NBA does something drastic like introducing 4 or 5 pointers, then we can't see Chamberlain's 100-point game ever being beaten by anyone. What do you guys make of this record? Miroslav Klose is coming through now. Polish people look away now. Miroslav Klose holds the record for most World Cup goals in history with 16 for Germany, but he was actually born in Opole, Poland. Over the course of his career, Klose largely plied his trade in the Bundesliga for teams such as Bayern Munich and Kaiserslautern. He also had a stint with Serie A in Lazio during the twilight years of his career, but it was with the German national team where he truly shone. He made his World Cup debut in Japan and Korea in 2002, where he became the first ever player to score 5 headers at one tournament. He would again score 5 goals when the 2006 World Cup rolled around in his home country, before adding another 4 in South Africa 4 years later. His record-equaling World Cup goal came in Brazil against Ghana in 2014, and a few days later he would break the all-time record of 16 goals at World Cup finals, with a strike against Brazil in the semis. Incidentally, the goal came in the 7-1 thrashing of their hosts, and quite fittingly, Germany would go on to win the World Cup that year, which would also be the great Miroslav Klose's final game for his country. A true legend, with Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi on 8 and 10 respectively, and this almost certainly being their last World Cup, we can expect this record to stand for decades yet. Who is your favorite footballer of all time? We're talking about Rickey Henderson now. Stick around. Creating a list of teams Rickey Henderson didn't turn out for in the MLB would probably be shorter than a list of ones he did. Over his 20-plus year career, the Hall of Famer stole more bases than any baseball fan could have ever envisaged, and finished his career with an eye-watering 1,406 career stolen bases. The only man to ever reach 4 figures where stolen bases are concerned, Henderson is almost 500 clear of second-placed Lou Brock, and when you consider the fact that the active leader in D. Strange Gordon is only sitting on 336 right now, we can probably expect to get plenty of mileage out of this particular record. One of the most incredible things about Henderson was his consistency. Similar to Jerry Rice, he was pretty much always available, and for his record to ever be broken, someone will need to steal 78 bases per season over 18 years. Good luck with that. Who is your MLB team? And finally, a Brett Favre record. Favre is an all-time great NFL quarterback and holds the distinction of having by far and away the most consecutive NFL appearances in the history of the game. Synonymous with the Green Bay Packers during his storied career, Favre caused controversy right at the end of his time in the NFL as he moved to bitter rivals the Minnesota Vikings. Favre started 297 games in a row, which means that if a player is to beat his long-standing record, they will need to play every regular season game, which is 17 for those who don't know, for the next 17 seasons. I mean, most guys don't even play 5, right? For a moment there, it looked as though Eli Manning could be on course to break Brett's record, but his tally came to an end with 210 a few years back. The likelihood of anyone ever getting close to playing this many games in a row is highly unlikely when you factor in things such as injury and loss of form. What makes Favre's record even more impressive is the contact nature of the game and the longevity needed to excel. Well, this record is probably never going to be beaten. That's what records are for, right? What is the best one you've heard about today? And give us your favorite records below. As usual, thanks for stopping by today, and remember to swing by again next time for some more fun and games. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, while also subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on more great bits in the future. Bye guys!